to write that whole code to write that whole code in a single language, making it easier for the developers to code that whole cloud application and then host it or deploy it uh, in his cloud service. And here's a presentation I showed them what would be if the developer uses the traditional method using the Terraform or JavaScript, what difference it makes when he transitions to the Wing. So here's the whole code, the Terraform code and the JavaScript code without Wing, and here comes down to the Wing when the developer uses the Wing, and ultimately both of these will give the same result. And some benefits of Wing. We can develop and test it locally. Wings comes with its own simulator, making it easy for the developer to visualize how the bucket is working, how the queue is working, how the whole cloud application is working, how the data is getting stored into the bucket, how the data is getting stored into the queue, and all that stuff. And compatible with your current stack, obviously. The developer could use any front-end framework or any other front-end library with the Wing, whether it's React, Next.js, Angular, Vue, or any other front-end framework. Fully customizable, flexible. Uh, you can write your own functions, create your own buckets, your own queue using Wing, and offer the cloud diversity because obviously Wing is fully compatible with Terraform. So on every cloud service where Terraform is compatible, whether it's GCP, AWS, or Azure, or any other cloud service where Terraform is compatible, Wing will be compatible in all those services. And here I showed them a live demo of creating a React tab, the same demo that ER showed in his workshop. I live showed them the demo how they can create the React tab using Vim from the scratch. How how they can install the Vim in their device, how they can use the Vim language, how they can create they can download the Vim extension file, Vim extension VS Code extension present in the VS Code marketplace, and creating the whole React app from the scratch. And here is a QR code of the repo so that whenever the user scans this QR code, he or she goes straight to the original repo, that is the Wing React Workshop repo. So he can follow the steps from there and obviously start the repository. And yeah, that was it. That was my whole presentation. And here's my own QR code so that if any member wants to get in contact with me, ask any questions, ask any doubt regarding Wing or anything about the Wing, they can directly contact me. And yeah, that's it. That was a workshop that I took. And after that workshop, I got such an immense positive response from the user because obviously there were many members, there were many developers in the workshop that was using the old traditional method to create the cloud application using AWS, that writing the different code in Terraform and writing different code in the JavaScript for the cloud application. And they were facing the same problem, like writing two different codes for the same application, right? And when I introduced them towards the Wing, and they saw that how Wing is solving this particular problem, what are the benefits of using Wing, how they can use Wing in their personal build, and how easy it makes for the developers to create the cloud application without writing two different and separate codes. And yeah, simulator is one of the things that the member were very impressive because obviously simulator gives you the visualization of how your whole cloud application will work, how bucket will work, of how queues will work, and basically giving them the whole visualization of how the live application will work. So they can tweak their whole code, experiment with it, play with it, and all that stuff before actually deploying it into the live server. So that was the thing that is a thing that members were really impressed of. That this is a thing that hasn't given, that isn't offered by any programming language till now in the world. Okay. And yeah, there were tons of positive feedbacks I got from multiple professional level developers that were working in the industry. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, sure, Mark. Any doubt, any questions?
Yeah, and also anyone else feel free to raise a hand for a question. And speaking of questions, I was wondering if did you get any questions? Did anyone come up and ask? Maybe not just saying, "Oh, this was awesome," but like,
Mm.
did they have like either a concern or just like a regular question about like Did you get any of
Yeah,
those?
sure. So yeah, I got a couple of questions from the audience, and one of the most asked questions was till now, in my knowledge, Bing is compatible with Azure, AWS, and GCP. If I'm correct, correct me if I'm wrong. And they were asking if Bing is compatible with other cloud services also, like for example, IBM Cloud and other cloud services. So is it?
Well, as you mentioned in the presentation, Wing is like Wing as a, I guess, like as a language, as a
Hmm,
system is compatible with Terraform under the hood,
hmm,
via CDKTF. Um, so yes, it's compatible. Like you can technically deploy anything you can deploy in Terraform, or you can build anything in Terraform as you could in Wing. Like it's because you can just use Terraform in the end.
hmm,
Um, and then you can just deploy that. But our like cloud abstractions that we have right now, like Cloud Bucket and Cloud Q, we only have existing implementations like available from us or from the community for the three that you mentioned, the big three. There are
hmm,
some Wing libs that make use of other clouds, and yeah, there's a one for IBM. Like Chris made one for a Neon Postgres database, for example. Like that's an example of using, not one of the big clouds, but using like a specific, more specific vertical like cloud thing rather than like one of the big ones. So yeah, it's all in there. But we've been focusing on creating like that nice cloud abstraction for the big three.
okay, understood. And is it mandatory to name the file as main.w? Can't we name it any other name?
We have a convention right now where we have entry points and we have library files. There's like the two
Hmm.
types of files we have, and we're doing that. We have a naming convention to kind of make it like so you don't have to like declare it anywhere. It's just a convention
Hmm.
based thing. So main or like so having a file name main, or it has to have like something dot main dot w. It can also
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
be so it has to basically end in main dot w somehow,
Okay.
either because that's the whole file or not. Or it can also we also have test files, so it can be like whatever dot test dot w.
Hmm.
But if you want to just use that for writing tests, that's also an option. Those are also considered entry point files. And anything else is a library file, so you can have them, but you can't. Your compilation can't start with them. I guess is
Hmm.
one say like those wouldn't be what you deploy. Those can only be used for like defining types and classes and interfaces and such. Um, yeah.
Okay, okay. And
And there's
till
no
now, Bing is free.
customization for that. Sorry, just wanted to say that we don't currently have any system to like override that right
Hmm,
now.
hmm, hmm. Understood, understood. And I was asking, till now Bing is free, right? And will Bing be like an subscription model will be introduced so that the user have to pay to use the Bing?
I no. Can I be as strongly? I don't know if I technically. I mean, I don't have I guess the right to state that. I don't know, but
Mhm.
I mean, it would be crazy for the language to become proprietary in any way for
Okay,
us
okay.
wanting to use. That would be a very strange move.
Mhm.
Hopefully,
Okay,
I'm
okay.
not speaking out
Understood.
of turn here, though. It wouldn't really make sense for us, to be honest. It's like it's more of a like logic. Even if like we wanted to, which we don't want to, just it
Mhm.
doesn't even really make sense to do. Sorry.
Okay, okay, understood. Understood. Yeah, that's all the questions and feedback I got. That's all from my side.
Okay, cool. Those are good questions. Anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? All right.
No questions from me, but yeah, it was really nice, and I think you posted like a picture from it on the Slack or somewhere else, right? I think like there's a pretty good turnout, so that was really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much. People really liked it because obviously they haven't heard about Wing till now. It was totally a new concept for them. So when I introduced them towards the Wing, what problem Wing is solving, and explain them by doing a live demo how they can use Wing in their personal project, so they were really impressed by it. And some of the developers was asking for me so if they can use the Wing in their organizational projects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge kudos.
Cool. Yeah. No, thank you again for that, for both presenting it to all those people there and then to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So next up, Chris, you want to walk us through a contribution made to Wing? Love to hear about it.
Yes. All right, great. I think I'm going to need to, can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, good, perfect. I'm gonna join with a different computer here. You'll see that pop in.
Yep.
So I'm pretty new to Wing right now. So kind of, this was great actually, Ayush, because this kind of gives me an example of real world uses for Wing, kind of still navigating my way through and saying, what is Wing exactly? What can it do for me? So this is really great to be here. Let me join now. Okay. Okay, great. So I did pick up a first good issue, and in this one we have FS module and Wing. We basically had write and read capability, but we needed append capability. So I went into that module and added the append file capability, which you can see right here. So that was basically the gist of it right there. Just added in an append file functionality. I went ahead and used the write file options interface, which was already available, and wrote the unit tests. And that's pretty much the presentation. That's what we did. Unless you have any questions further for that.
I mean, oh, sorry. Go on. Go for it.
It's okay. Sorry, I just raised my hand. It's no big deal.
Hi,
So,
Hassan.
hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you here. So, how did you feel about the contribution experience? Right, this is your first contribution to the Wing. Did you feel like there would have been? Did you feel like there was sufficient material in our documentation for contributing, or were there resources that you think would have made your life easier? Just curious.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I did feel like, you know, the setup that you provided was pretty sufficient. There's some areas where, yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of red on here. There's, I'm having a little difficulty with some of the linting, but I found that there was a lot of support. So I made Revital was able to send people to me to help out when I had questions, and obviously Hassan, you jumped in also to help me out quite a bit in there. But as far as setting it up, you had some pretty good step-by-step instructions in there. It was pretty easy, and I'm trying to remember the process of finding. I think it was in the ticket actually, as far as finding where the code was for this, where I had to look around for it. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty good for, a first issue person jumping in there to get to know it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned before that you were thinking about revamping some of the docs as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple ideas for the doc site, but still working our way to it.
Okay. Yeah, I can look through there and take some notes and send you some suggestions if I come up with them.
Oh yeah, we'd love the feedback, and looking forward to the next contribution too.
Yeah. I'll be picking up some other tickets, getting in there, getting a little deeper dive into Wing. Yes, Nathan.
Hey, Chris, nice job, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm just kind of curious, how did you find Wing, and what's your development background?
Oh yes. Well, I found Wing through Hassan. He's my professor. I'm a computer science student right now. I actually, I've also I did attend a boot camp a couple of years ago, so I've had some development experience. I was working for a company called Tend. It's a dental company. If anybody's in New York, Massachusetts, Virginia, a couple areas, they might have encountered it. So I was working on their patient app. So it's kind of a very technology focused company. I was working mostly back end there on a Django back end. Currently, I am back working as a dental hygienist, just as a day job sort of situation, and working on the computer science degree. Although I just had some rounds of interviews that we're hoping might pan out with something better. So, yeah, that's how I found my way here.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I am actually one of my, it worked out perfectly because one of my big interests is with cloud development. So I am studying AWS right now, going through a kind of a certification that the school offers. And so Wing kind of just hit like, oh, cloud-based programming language. That's kind of right up my alley. I'm trying to learn right now. So.
Yeah, I don't mean to make a plug, but I'm going to make a plug in case you're looking for it. Where we just opened a cloud computing degree, so if you want to change, there's a few courses, but it's totally.
Oh, seriously?
Yep. Yeah, it's brand new. We just started designing those courses, and they're offered this fall.
Great. I imagine you'll probably be teaching some of those.
A couple. I'd love to see more of them.
Okay. I'm going to look into that.
A great job here, Chris.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So with that, if there's no other any other questions or anything, thank you, Chris, so much for coming in and doing all that. We don't have any more topics for today. I think I heard that Nathan might have something. I also have something that I could present. I don't know how to choose. It wasn't on the agenda, so it's impossible to figure out. I don't know how to choose this. Nathan, did you have something?
Not really. No. Revital asked if I had anything to present, and I don't really. I just said I could just start talking, but that doesn't sound very interesting. So I'm going to hand it over to you. That would probably be better.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll do a short thing. Something, so for any people that play video games here, not just about video games, about Wing, I promise. A project that a few of us in the team started last week, or 2 weeks ago? No, a couple weeks ago, was to host a game, like a video game server, like with Wing, like to deploy the infrastructure for it and run it, and then play on it, ideally, not just host it for no reason. So I can show that working now, and we have already played on it, and I think ideally we want to be a community server. It hasn't been that yet, but good. So the game in question is Factorio, if any of you have seen it. But the kind of important part, I guess, to demo that might be interesting is how it's like, this is all Terraform. You know, for anyone who hasn't seen like just writing Wing, like I'm barely using any of our existing abstractions. So in my case, like, you see the imports at the top, like, the AWS provider. So I'll go over the infrastructure of it really quick. We're building a container, hosting it, and pushing it to ECR as the image registry, and then running ECS, running a container in ECS Fargate with Fargate capacity. And that's mostly it. There's a little, but that's like, the point is we want to just run a server somewhere. There's a public IP, that's associated. There's a load balancer to make the public IP work. To those of you that are here, I also fixed the problem the other day with the listener. Security groups, turns out, was the problem. Surprisingly, there was no security group on the load balancer. Anyway, I also added VPC endpoints to reduce like the egress cost of having to go out to the internet for things. Lots of little stuff. I really don't want to go over the whole thing, to be honest. It's a lot. It's a lot for this meeting for people that may not care about it, but it does work. And if I had prepared properly, I would have. So the server is turned off right now because I don't want to. We're not playing it, so there's no reason to pay the cost. So I would demo me logging into it and showing that it works, but I don't know if I want to waste y'all's time doing that. Depends on how much you want to see it. I can? Okay. But I'm curious if anyone here knows about Factorio. If any of you have seen it or would be interested in playing it if it were like a community, like available server. Okay, if not, I won't be offended. It looks like this. This is the game. You build factories. I promise and there's enemies. You automate stuff. It's very exciting, I promise. And yeah, you can play with like lots of people. So anyway.
This is one of the reasons it's sad we don't have Marcho, because I know he would have loved this.
Yeah. I'm sure, and like it's a very like a lot of programmers like this game. It kind of a lot of time feels like programming or like hardware. Like if you're into like hardware design or something, it's a very like it scratches a similar itch to solving those kind of problems, like optimization problems, and you could even have circuits in the game. You can do logic, like actual logic in it. So if you like trains, it's got trains. It hits all the spots. I can at least show. So I don't have it. I need to start the service, which may take a second because load balancers and listeners are notoriously slow to start up sometimes. But like, so here's like the actual service, and if I go to the task, which isn't running because there's no tasks. That was pointless to show you. But I can start one. I can say, hey, give me a task in this service, and it'll provision one. It'll pull down the image that was pushed to ECR, start it up. But I guess, yeah, it'll probably take like a couple minutes to start up. I don't know if I can show it. There it is starting.
So what was the motivation behind naming the cluster, the service, and the task called Factorio?
I'm not sure what you mean. I think it's ordained by God to name it all the exact same thing. The cluster, the service. If only I could name the task.
I know. I wish they'd let us do it.
And then the container, yeah. And the image, actually. The image itself is also named Factorio.
Consistent.
It's literally, everywhere I could possibly put a name. There's also EFS. So EFS, because this is probably common for game servers. You want to have a saved state. So you need to use EFS as like a stable way of like keeping. I want to keep these files forever. Sorry.
Makes sense.
So I expect. I mean, this is probably like the scaffolding of this, of like public IP, a container registry, ECS running like a daemon-esque process of just like having one. This is basically the framework for most game servers. I would argue like having like there's a lot of pieces here that would probably apply to anything, and the only thing you would actually change out is like the actual image. So it could be an interesting kind of like high level game hosting framework, if that probably exists already, but interesting thing. Okay, last status running. Okay, so it is running now. And the public IP is since it's running, I guess I'll go all the way and actually start Factorio, and then I probably have taken up enough of y'all's time. Show that it connects. But yeah, this is hosted in AWS. I promise I'm not hosting on my computer and lying about it. It is. You saw it running. It was running there. Oh yeah. So I joined it this morning to make sure it still worked after I did my changes. So that's actually like the server name. And if you join it, and I know there it is. There's a server running. This is what continued on from the game that was played a week ago. So here it is, hosting a game server in Wingtorio. All right, that's it. I won't do anything else.
Woohoo!
I did it. Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, when are we playing?
Are you interested?
Yeah.
Is something you've played before? You played a similar game, or you're just down for it?
I've played similar, like kind of building, worlds type games, but yeah, this one looks cool. I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's probably the range from like Minecraft is like the most like build a world type of like whatever thing like that's, and Factorio I would consider kind of like it's the same plane but the opposite end, I guess, of like, yeah, you are building a world, but like it's basically a job because like you build factories and it's like a lot of work and a lot of things to do, but like you like the job and you don't get paid for it. It actually costs money to run this, so it's a negative cash flow situation to do this. The server, I believe,
That's a lot of fun.
sorry, what was that?
I said a lot of fun. Negative cash flow, but a lot of fun.
Exactly. That's I'm willing to make that trade sometimes. I think. Hopefully, we all are.
I like to see a situation where you have positive cash flow and fun. It's,
I mean, are we? I feel like we're. Hopefully, I hope you all find that. I mean, if you enjoy your job, that's, I guess, the closest you can get to that. I hope that all for you. That'd be great. We do still have time, Nathan. If you want to do the,
I
you were
could
just
give
going to talk.
some updates if you want, Mark.
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. Actually, two short updates. First one, I published 2 articles on Medium explaining how to simplify remote desktop. I use it for Wing. It could be used for other stuff. Apparently, EC2 Instance Connect is a more lightweight secure communication with instances, bypassing SSM, and you still could have this SSH connectivity. It's slightly faster and lightweight, so if somebody is interested, just reach me out. Because I never install environments like Wing on my personal computer. Messed up very quickly, so I always use remote desktops. Somebody wants to use the same settlement, I could share, and it's slightly more optimized. Stop when inactive. The problem with remote desktops, if you forget to stop it, then you pay fine. And there's ChatGPT helped me to come up with more nuanced bash script that stops it within 15 minutes time frame. That's one. Second, at one of the previous meetings, Elad asked me what would be involved in developing something similar to Power Tools in Wing. Now, if you know, Power Tools is a actually family of libraries for 4 languages that provide something, and I can intentionally say something, to enhance production readiness of Lambda functions. That includes logging, tracing, metrics, idempotent handling of requests, and some other schema validation of input output and other stuff. I embarked on that activity. It's quite interesting. So currently I have draft of the first part that tries to figure out what the hell it is. In software industry, if you probably know, people pick up a term without understanding its meaning and start using it in completely wrong fashion. The classical example is use case. Use case is everything except for original use case. Right? The same happened with middleware. Now everybody speaks about middleware, but in reality, what they call middleware is a middleware function that implements decorator design pattern in a pipe and filters fashion. And a lot of mess there. MIDI library also uses this completely wrong fashion. So my first step was to figure out where middleware did come from and what it means. It's currently draft. I plan to publish it in day or two. If somebody wants to look at the draft and be thanks, instead of ChatGPT, drop me a message. I want to remove ChatGPT. Don't use it for writing articles. It drives you to commodity. Initially, it was fun, probably because of load. The quality goes down, and it just commoditizes everything. It's not good. And my second part, and it's quite interesting at the age of computer science research, how could you implement pipes and filters efficiently in Wing? And that's apparently not a trivial problem to solve. And spoiler, generics will unlikely solve the problem completely. So the fact that we don't have generics in Wing is not the major obstacle. So if anybody, it's not games, I admit, it's much more fun. But these are interesting problems to explore again. Coming back to 68 of the NATO Software Engineering Conference, figuring out how things did start, where we get today, and what could be really done to make it better, because developing new language is a rare opportunity to revise this stuff from first principles. We normally lift and shift not only business applications, but also languages, libraries, you name it. Why not just drop this crap on like Tetris, one on the top of another, without thinking what really happens? And that's a real opportunity to come back 60 years almost and to rethink it from the scratch. It's less trivial than it looks like. Especially if you want production grade stuff and cost effective and everything stuff. So if anybody is interested, review and drop in ideas, just send me a chat. I'll be more than happy to cooperate. That's it.
Okay. I guess Nathan, you want to round us off here?
I don't really have much to talk about. That's super interesting. So maybe I told Revital that I'll work on something for the next meeting. So I'm not just rambling. So I'm happy to give everyone back a few minutes. It'd be much more interesting for you to go, everyone to go about doing their own thing than just hearing me talk about a bunch of stuff. So I'm good.
All right.
Thanks though.
Sorry, I tried to put you on the spot like 7 times.
all good.
But no, I appreciate the we'll see it. We'll see it next time. See it. Okay, then yeah, I'm in agreement. So we can end this just a little early, not crazy early. And thank you everyone for coming. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the
Awesome.
rest
Thank
of the
you.
day.
You all.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks,
Hey,
everybody.
everyone.